We'll make up for it in content. All right, and I'm good. All right, let me hand you the microphone. I'm going to kick it off with Robin. There you go, first off. Okay, let's go down the list just real quick. We only have the one mic, so just make sure if you want to add a comment or whatever, just hold the mic close, talk in the room, ask questions, whatever. But just walk us through, tell us who you are, where you do business. Who am I talking to? Robin.
Okay. I'm Robin McCary, and I am from California. I actually live in Burbank, and I work the whole San Fernando Valley because my business is mostly referral. And let's see, I am a mom of an 18-year-old. He's graduating, so in June, he leaves in August, so I'm an empty nester, so my business is going to boom.
Nice. All right, tell us who you are, please.
I'm Carr. I live in Irvine, California, so I'm also local in Orange County. Mostly work Irvine, but all surrounding areas in Orange County, so if you have anybody in that direction, be sure and Facebook message me or Instagram me. And I have a sales partner. I have a small team. It's me and a sales partner that do the listings and the buyers, and then we have our director of marketing and an administrative assistant. So we like to think of ourselves as a Navy SEALs team. Last year we did 110 transactions, and we did $2,446 in GCI.
And I'll just tell you, if you guys don't follow Monica, you gotta follow her. And have you all seen Tom's podcast last Thursday, the repeat podcast of our 2016 talk? You've got to listen to that. Totally inspirational. So, anyways, just follow Monica. You'll be very happy you did. I'm Christophe Choo from Coldwell Banker Global Luxury in Beverly Hills. I realized 2 days ago when I looked at my original license from, what was the year? 1987. Oh my God. So in May it'll be 32 years in the business. Hard to believe. And when I think back when I first started doing videos 12, 13 years ago and no one was doing it, and started doing social media, and then after today, I texted my wife and said, I'm behind the 8 ball. I said, I've really got to learn. And I've been learning from all these agents, and there's so much more I have to do. I have to recreate myself all the time, which is why I'm here. So thank you, Jason, for the amazing content. I'm going to have to do this class again and again, because there's so much information. I'm overwhelmed, but it's okay. I'll take a few things like we did at lunch, and we'll make it happen.
Absolutely, I love it. All right, so thank you, Christophe, Monica, and Robin for agreeing to share your trade secrets to this group here. So Monica gave us a little bit of a sense, but let's go down the line. There's 2 things I want to figure out. One, how long have you been with Tom Ferry, and what's your production and business look like from a production standpoint?
So I started with Tom Ferry in the beginning of the second quarter of 2017. So in 2016, I was with another coaching company, and I forgot my numbers here because I'll forget them. So in 2016, I did 10 million in volume with 260 GCI, and this will be 2 years now with my coach and Tom Ferry, and last year I did 28 million at 800 GCI. And right now to date, I've done 8 million and I have 6 million in signed listings. Why am I? I'm nervous.
That's awesome. Clap it up.
Yeah, but 230 GCI.
Say that again, I missed it.
230 GCI.
This year, year to date, 230,000. That's
Yeah.
phenomenal.
So
So you've already done this year, like 2 years ago, what you did for roughly the whole year.
Right.
Just about.
Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. Like right now, like this is the best real estate market we're ever going to live through. That's my prediction. So we should be leveraging it to the hilt. All right, Monica, just paint a clear picture. Go ahead.
Sure, I started coaching in 2011. I got my license in 2003, so I had a 7-year run when the market was flying high. But by 2011, when the market had tanked, I had nothing to show for it. I had spent everything I'd made and then some. I owed $100,000 to the IRS. I owed $50,000 in almost $100,000 in personal credit card debt and personal loans. So I kind of hit rock bottom. And a friend of mine drugged me to a Tom Ferry event. It was a seminar in a hotel in Irvine, a half-day conference where he was promoting the upcoming summit. And actually, it was like $200 to go to the summit, or I couldn't even afford to go. So my girlfriend actually wrote a check for me and said, I'm going to help you go and you can pay me back someday, because her words exactly were, Tom Ferry is going to help you get your shit together. But she actually did. So in 2011, I had only done 4 million in production. By 2012, I for coaching in 2011. By 2012, I hired Ann, who's here with me today. She started off as my assistant, and it was just the two of us. That year, she helped us do 14 million, so we went from 4 to 14 just by hiring an assistant. And actually, I hired her in October, and from January to October, I was telling you at lunch, we had done 7 million. And hiring her in October to December, we did another 7 million. So, and then it went from 14 million to 22 million to 40 million, and last year we did almost 100 million. My coach. I was with Mary and Kern for, it's been almost 7 years now. And just the ecosystem here, what we have here is so special, and all of the sharing that happens. And every time you come to an event like this, you hear new things that you know you need to start implementing. So you never stop growing, and you never stop benefiting from the coaching.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing all that.
So yeah, I've been coaching with Tom, I think this first or second year he started his company, and I was previously coaching with another company with a similar name since 1993. But I mean, it was 1993, I remember it was the year of the earthquake in Los Angeles, and we were in the room when I first started coaching, and I went to the retreat, and I remember kind of like you, I heard the talk, and I heard about the coaching, and it was $1,000 a month, and I didn't even know if I had $1,000 credit on my credit card. But luckily I did, but I knew in my heart, by spending the $12,000, I would make a 10-time return on investment. So I've been coaching since 1993, so it's 25, 26 years. I've never left coaching. I would never leave coaching. It makes my life easier, better, happier, more fun, more creative, more interesting. I meet lots of people, and I can share my pains and angst with other top producing agents, and we understand each other. So yeah, it's been a long time, and I'm very, very happy. My goal is $3.5 million this year. I want to be like Monica. And yeah, I'm just happy to be here and learning and growing and all that. So thank you. And I do accept referrals. I do like referrals, but it's not my only business. And just for fun, I did something new, because last year 27% of our GCI was from agent referrals. So this year I decided to do something different. Agents are always calling me to come shadow make the office and spend time with me. So here's the deal. Any referral you send me this year, it closes. You get a drawing at the end of the year in December. We're doing a drawing. Whoever's pulled out of the hat of whoever closed the referral with me this year, it's an all expense paid first-class trip to Beverly Hills, first-class airfare, Beverly Hills Hotel, spend the day with me, lunch and dinner, and hang out and learn about what I do. So think of me for referrals in LA and Beverly Hills, no matter what the price range.
That's how you sweeten the pot. Nice. That's really good. I love it. All right, so let's go rapid fire, just real quick down the line. Just each of you share with us, if you would, your top 2 sources of business, just quick answers.
For me, it's past client and social sphere. That would be the 2.
Okay, nice.
51% of my business came from my farm, and 34% of my business came from past client and past client referrals.
Got it, cool. Robin.
Mine is Geo Farm and past clients and Fairground loans.
Okay, perfect. All right, so good mix. So we have, just gonna recap it, so we have your social sphere and then like referrals, past clients, and the database. You said farm, database, correct? You guys got it? All right, so whoever wants this one first, we're gonna do like your little monologue. Just give us the 30,000 aerial view, 30,000 foot view of what's Robin's marketing machine? How do you run your business? Give us the nuts and bolts.
Okay, so we do what you set up here in terms of touches for our farm and my sphere and past clients. So they get 2 emails a month. They get 2 postcards in the mail a month. My sphere gets phone calls every quarter. What else do we do? We have gifts that we give out at Christmas time. A big thing in my Geo Farm is open houses, so we get a lot of business from that with the mega open houses. And for our postcards, we actually started a new farm that's in a different price point, knowing that the market is going to turn. And in November, we had all those postcards in place for this year, 2019. So all we do is push a button, and it's done.
Awesome. All right, so I heard open houses, I heard postcards, emails. Basically what was interesting is you're using the database strategy I gave them, but for your farm and your database, right? So it's emails, phone calls, postcards, open house events, or events, things of that effect.
Yes.
All right.
And everybody gets invited to our open houses. Everybody, entire database, everybody, because I want everyone there. And even if they're not in our farm area, I want them to see how we handle it.
How big is your farm?
Right now I have 2 combined, this kind of small, it's only about 600, and then we just started our new farm, which is 17.
Is the new farm producing yet?
Not yet, we just started in January.
Okay,
We're hitting
so
it 3 times a month. with
How
this
many
farm.
deals, do you know how many deals came from your farm last year, the 600 residents, roughly?
I'm looking at Brianna.
Okay.
I don't, sorry.
What was the breakdown you said? It was your number one source of business, right?
Yeah, Geo and,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, so we're getting a pretty good yield by the sounds of it.
Huge, and that's a very high price point.
Yeah. What's the price point?
It's about 2.5 for Burbank, and that's always a 6% commission, with 3.5 on my side.
Good rolling. I like it. All right, Monica, give us the 30,000 foot view. You guys can store up some questions. If there's time, we'll take a few questions. So be thinking about that. So give us the 30,000 foot view of how do you do it, where's the business come from?
Sure, so newer agents will appreciate this. We don't spend a lot of money. So.
Say that really loud.
We generated a lot of income. Our ROI is huge, but we do build a lot of sweat equity. So I started my farm with no money, and I had nothing but a business card and some doors to knock on. So I literally just started knocking on doors. And my farm is pretty small. I have 636 homes that we farm. So I did it small on purpose because I wanted to be able to go deep in the farm.
Yeah.
And I remember at the 2011 summit, Tom said very specifically, pick a farm that's door knockable, where you have at least a 6% turnover,
Yep.
and 400 to 500 homes to start, because you don't have a lot of money, so it's silly to go pick a 3,000 home farm that you're not going to be able to mail to, you're not going to be able to do it effectively and stay consistent enough to get the return. So my farm was 400 homes. It was a gated community. It is a gated community. Probably not allowed to door knock, but we do anyway. I always ask forgiveness, not permission. And I think that's important. People need our help, right? So we knock on the door with something of value to them if we're knocking around a listing or an upcoming home. And if I was a new agent, and when I started in this farm, didn't actually have a listing in there, I just knocked around a listing that was on the market and just said, hey, your neighbor just listed their home for $1,050,000. What do you think of that price? And then start engaging the homeowner and ask them if they, for the right price, would they consider selling their home. And so you're going to find the next listing, and that's how we started that farm. And then once we got a listing, we learned quickly to leverage it. So leveraging your farm, holding open houses, we do door hanger invitations to our open house. So I would deliberately do a wine and cheese twilight open house in the evening so that the neighbors would come. And that way I could meet the homeowners in the community. And it gives buyers an opportunity to see it as well. And then we just started it with really just leverage. So leveraging that listing into another listing, open houses on the weekends, broker previews, wine and cheese events. And then once we started generating a little bit of profit, we took that money and reinvested into the farm. So at Christmas, everybody probably, if you listen to the tape on YouTube, we do Christmas cookies at holiday time. And this year, we passed out 1,100 cookie tins, door to door, knocking every single door. So it's a big project and it's a lot of work, but it's so productive because you get face-to-face with homeowners. And then from there, we started doing community events, like what you talked about earlier today. We do a movie night in the park.
Awesome.
We sponsor garage sale. We do ice cream truck on the first Friday of every month. And so we sponsor stuff and give back. And I was talking to our marketing director. Overall, last year we spent about $55,000 in farming to net $2 million. So that's a 20x ROI. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you have any intentions of expanding the size of your farm?
So that is the goal, right? Because what we're doing is working and it's done and it's a small area. And yeah, we have actually adopted a new farm this year that we kind of backed into. Took a listing, door knocked around it, took another listing, door knocked around it, and from July to December, we ended up taking 7 listings in this little tract of 90 homes. So we said, this might make a good farm. So we dropped cookie tins in there this year, and that's going to be part of our farm. So farming in Sphere is our biggest. I don't spend a lot of money on Zillow. I am a premier agent, but I just found that if I can get toe-to-toe with people and face-to-face, and really get an opportunity to engage and find out what their pain points are and how I can help them, then I have more success.
I love it. So there's like 6 styles of marketing, right? Networking, hosting, prospecting. It comes down to what are your strengths, you're capitalizing on them. I was wondering if you're going to scale up, because it sounds like you've got a pretty duplicatable process, don't you? That's awesome. And by the way, did you guys catch that line she said? What do you think of that price? That's a really good script. That's a great question to get a conversation rolling where you can build upon that. Christophe, tell us how the hot dogs get made.
So I've never had a physical dirt farm, bricks and mortar ever in my 32-year career. To me, my farm is the world of the wealthy, the interesting. Many years ago, I set a vision in my mind because one of my coaches said, you gotta create the perfect vision for the clients you want. And I created that, and it's been 25, 26 years now. I want clients who love me, trust me, respect me, are rich and fun, and I can be friends with, who follow my advice and give me business. So that's my client base. I'm not kidding, that's what I think about. So we were talking at lunch about our first major cruise when we got married 25 years ago. It was a majorly expensive cruise, 3 weeks in the Mediterranean, and I spent a quarter of my GCI on this trip. But I knew I'd make money from it. And we were laying at the pool on the cruise and met this wonderful couple from Beverly Hills. I moved to Beverly Hills, thanks to Betty Graham. And I moved to Beverly Hills, and that one person I met on that one cruise has made me over $2 million in the last 25 years. And so I work that in terms of my social sphere. So I could never go on Christmas Eve like this lady does and door knock with cookies. I couldn't even fathom doing that. It takes a lot of strength and hard work to do that. I want to go out to a party. But that's what's so wonderful about being in real estate. We can all choose what works best for us and what's in our hearts, what's in our soul. And when you do what you love and you're good at what you do and you're happy with what you do, you talked about attraction 10 times today. And there's a book I read many years ago, Catherine Ponder, The Power of Prosperous Thinking. I read this when I was 15 years old. And it talked about writing down what you want very specifically and attracting that to you. And then doing the day-to-day tasks to move towards those goals. And there's ups and downs every day. So there's no physical farm, it's an international farm. Beverly Hills and the west side of LA is like a resort market. And my target is the wealthiest of the world when we travel that I can meet, that they want to buy a vacation house or a vacation condo, or their friends do. So that's kind of where I work my farm. And then of course, past clients and sphere, giving back to charities and things like that, doing events, not necessarily client parties, although they kind of are client parties, but they're always under the guise of we're doing an event that we're hosting, we're paying for a charity, or just for the fun of it, not specifically a client event. So, and then in the last 11, 12 years, when Gary Vaynerchuk said to me, you're Mr. Beverly Hills, your lifestyles are the rich and famous, you need to be a DJ for content in your community. That's what he said. And I said, I went out, bought my first flip video cam, did my first video, that was 2007 or 2008. At that point in time, it was all about websites and written blogs. I was not a writer. It would take me 3 hours. I'd go to a party, take photos, and take me 3-4 hours to write a 3-paragraph blog. It just wasn't me. But with the video camera, I turn the camera on, one take, done, it's online, no editing. That works for me. And it's natural, it's raw, it's real, and I talk from the heart, and that seems to work. So, social media, Facebook, Instagram, videos, I just share what is meaningful to me. And I truly believe by sharing what's meaningful to me, I will attract other like-minded buyers and sellers that also like what I like, and that's the kind of people I want to do business with.
Love it. Hey, let me stay with you. Loud enough. Okay. Let's put Christophe in. I want to ask Christophe a question. What are the trends this audience should be paying attention to that you're seeing?
I'll just say what my gut trends are. I truly believe in the next few years, websites are going to be passé. I just think that was 20 years ago websites came out, we rebuilt websites, we're just about to rebuild it again, but I don't think that's where people are going. I think people live on their phones. I do. I always market myself the way I consume information, and I don't really go on my computer other than reading emails and doing contracts and those kinds of things. Otherwise, I consume my information like I was listening to your podcast with Tom on the phone, a couple hours a day. So I figure, okay, how can I market myself in that medium? Particularly, I know in my world, the wealthiest of the wealthy are on Instagram. They're not on Facebook, they're nowhere else, but they are on Instagram. All private accounts, they don't have a lot of followers, and they don't follow a lot of people. But if you're lucky enough to be in their world, then like Jason says, when I do look, I pay attention to them. I'll specifically search certain friends and make sure to see what they're doing, pay attention to them, comment on them, and keep those relationships. When they come to LA a couple times a year for parties or lunches or dinners, we go out, we hang out. So I think websites are out. I don't even know what the next stage of that's going to be. But websites are out. I think video is going to continue to move forward, but I think either really long form video or really, really short form video. We're working on a project for this year of creating videos that are going to be 15 to 30 seconds long. and not really even a lot of words, because I know late at night when I do go on Facebook or whatever, it's 11 o'clock, midnight, my wife's asleep, I don't have my headset on, so I'm kind of scrolling, and I don't want to put the volume on because she'll wake up and she'll get all startled. So I'm just watching, and if the video has the words on the screen and it's catchy and it's quick and sexy, I know what it says and I pay attention. If it's no words on the screen and it's slow, I just move on. So I think our attention spans went from 18 seconds to 7 seconds in a few years. So I have to figure out a way to communicate my message in a shorter format and a wider scale. So I think that's what I see as the future.
Love it. Awesome. Good. Anything to add on that question? Any trends that you're seeing that are working?
I think we were talking about this at lunch too, is that, everything we're seeing here today is so relevant with video and Facebook and social media and even marketing all our listings. We were talking about print media and how more and more we're veering away from print media because people aren't utilizing it. So even if we took the same budget, I know we can spend $1,500 on a mailer in my farm. What can you do with $1,500 on Facebook or on Instagram where you can actually target market specific zip codes, specific demographics, specific potential buyers or sellers in your market? So it's just, I've been slow to embrace social media. Anyone who knows me knows I just kind of private, and so it's been hard for me, to be honest, to put stuff out there, but I'm getting used to the idea.
It's good. I love it. And I think there's a lot of people who could relate to that perspective. I got another question for them, but I want to save my question for a minute. Let's do 2 questions from the room. Anybody have a question here? Let me toss you the mic. Hey, Sean, pillow mic, coming up. Just talking to the black part of the mic. Monica?
Hi, Monica. A question for you. How you ask the referrals from your farm?
What's that?
How you ask the referrals?
How do I ask for referrals?
From your farm.
From my farm? That's a good question. You know what? I guess I don't. I get referrals from my past clients. I know what we do is just try to stay top of mind. So, for instance, our marketing to our farm, when we do our ice cream truck in the park, for instance, we have a binder, and in our binder is every street in the farm, by address, every person's name, and then we have a space to put their email and their phone number. So when they come up, it's funny, now they're trained. When they come up to the ice cream truck, they say, I'm John Smith at 31 Bellarosa, my phone number is this, and my email is this. And so they give it to us. So then we take those emails and we put them into, we used to do MailChimp, now we use BombBomb. So we actually do a video. So our marketing director has gotten me more in front of the camera, so I'll do a quick 30, 45-second video inviting them to our open house, and that goes out to everybody whose email we have. So my farm, my sphere, our database, anybody I've met at an open house that gets added to that list. And so you're just staying top of mind, and I think that helps. The email marketing has been huge, and then just being in the farm, being present, whether it's at community events, sponsoring things, garage sales, giving back, doing what we can within the community. I guess that's probably how the referrals are coming in, because they see that we're busy working.
Awesome, thank you. Just set up tomorrow morning very well for me. This is going to be great. I love it. All right, one more question. Who has a question for one of our 3 panelists? All right, I don't want to spill coffee. Can you guys pass this back to her?
Hi there, my name's Erin Galovich from San Clemente, Dana Point. I apologize, the gal on the end in the black shirt, I forgot your name. Robin. Thanks, Robin. So when you mentioned that your business was based on both database and a farm, and that you market everything that goes to the farm goes to the database as well. So in terms of what your message is, because if you do all of the valley, you're not necessarily targeting a geographic area. You could have a client that's 45 minutes away. So you still send the same postcard. Doesn't really matter the content, you just want, how do you handle that?
So overall, it's the same, but you're exactly right, because it's relative to Burbank, which I have a lot of business in, or maybe I have somebody out in Northridge, or like that. So depending on what the postcard is, so the open house, it's all the same, everyone's invited, come see us, see what we do. We have testimonials, so that's one way we get referrals in our farm, is if we sell something in the farm, and we do a testimonial with that. We do the same thing with Brianna and I, who works with me, we were just talking about tweaking the back of a door knocker that I was going to do in the farm. So overall it's kind of the same, but then you kind of have to look at it and say, do we need to tweak the back for this, the message that we have on the back.
Thank you. Hey, Robin, or Christophe, go ahead and add to it if you want to.
I just want to add a point about, because you talked a lot today about attraction and branding. And as a lot of coaches talk about, with the way the world is now with the Zillows and the Trulias and the Realtors.coms, and we let this happen, unfortunately, in the industry, where they've basically taken all of our databases, taken our leads, and they're selling them back to us, which is why Monica and I talked about it. I don't pay for any Zillow leads. She doesn't pay for any Zillow leads. She doesn't pay for Zillow leads. And I think it's not a mistake that we did that. But we have an opportunity to change that now. And the key is branding. I mean, as the companies continue to do this, and the market is really, the industry is changing dramatically. Back in 2007, when I started this whole plan of social media, I didn't want to go on because I'm very private. I didn't want to share my life, but I thought I can share what I want to share. I'm not going to share everything, but I'm going to share what I want to share. And that's changed. But I thought to myself, how am I going to create this? I said, I need to be the Pepsi or the Coca-Cola of luxury real estate in Beverly Hills. And I thought, I've got a split second, a half a second to capture someone's attention on these platforms. So all I thought to myself is 4 things. You need to know my name, Beverly Hills, luxury, and real estate. That is it. So I think you need to think about your personal branding, your marketplace, and just, that's all you need. If you can post, I mean, I post 4 to 20 times a day on various platforms, depending on how busy my day is, but that's really all it is. My name always, what I am, where I am, luxury, the parties, the lifestyle, real estate, and Beverly Hills, LA. That's it. That's all people need to remember, because we're creating that bond and that trust, not just a lead that's thrown to you. See, people want to love you, trust you, and respect you before they'll do business with you. And if they see you often enough, and if they pick up the phone because they see your videos, they see your content, they're going to do business with you. I remember the first time I monetized from videos, it was 4 years into videos. I had done 800 videos online. Tom was my coach at the time. And I kept saying, Tom, I'm not monetizing this. What's the point of doing all these videos if it's not going to be monetized? He says, just keep doing what you're doing. My wife said, keep doing what you're doing. So I kept doing what I was doing. Out of the blue one day, I got a phone call from a woman who had been looking for a house for a year and a half, another broker in my office. She wanted to buy a house for around 10, 12 million. She was going to sell her house, etc. I found her house in 30 days that she bought for 10 million plus. I sold her house for 5 million, and I received 3 referrals within 90 days after for 4.6, 2.8, and 475,000. And they all closed, all from 2 videos. And I said to her, when she first called me, I said, what made you decide, oh, your videos? I said, which videos? I saw your helicopter tour, and I saw your driving tour. I said, how'd you find them? She says, I went on Google, I typed in Bel Air, she saw the helicopter video, she clicked the YouTube video, it took her to another video, and I said, well, out of all the videos, what made you call me? She says, 2 reasons. She says, if you spend that much money renting a helicopter to show expensive houses, you'd spend money to market my home, and number 2, the other video, you were really honest. I said, well, how so? It was a part of LA called Bel Air, called Stone Canyon, which is in the middle of a canyon, mountains on either side. And in the video, I said, if you're a sun lover, this may not be for you. It's a quiet community, it's like living in the country, lots of trees, but the sun will rise 2 hours later in the morning and it will set 2 hours earlier in the afternoon. She was an escrow on a house on that street for $12 million, and when they came for the inspections at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it was pitch dark, and she wanted a house with sun. So that's why she fired her old broker and hired me. So do what you feel is right, keep doing it, and it takes a lot of time sometimes. You gotta keep doing it all the time, day after day, consistent. And all of a sudden, expect that magic and miracle to occur, and it will, and you'll get that magic phone call that could make your whole year's income. So just keep on doing it. Don't be afraid.
Thank you, Christophe. Monica, where should someone start if they want to get to where you are?
Well, I would say get a coach if you don't have one. That was the big game changer for me, and I think it was based on the accountability of the weekly check-in. So you have to be accountable for what you're supposed to be doing, and also it's great to have somebody else looking over your business because you may be missing something. And I think that's the value of the coaching, is being able to have access to something outside of just your narrow scope of vision. And then, implementing obviously is important because you can be coached all day, but if you're not coachable, then it doesn't do any good. So and I feel like when I come to these events, I still feel anxiety every time I come because there's so much information and I feel like I'm a failure and I'm I'm not able to do everything that we're being taught to do, and I'm like doing, 5% of everything that's being talked about. And I talked to Tim Smith, who, is a massive agent. He's in my office, and he feels the same way. So I realized, okay, no one's ever going to feel like they've arrived, or like they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, or everything they're capable of. But if you just are consistent, and when I leave an event like this, I'm happy if I just get 2 takeaways. Something practical that I can implement immediately, 2 takeaways that are going to help me in my business. Because it does seem overwhelming with all of everything that we're learning. And then what I found is over the years being in this ecosystem, you're not ready for everything you're hearing when you hear it. So it's an evolution. The things I heard at Summit in 2011 are probably the same things I'm hearing today, but I'm hearing them differently because I'm in a different space in my business. And now I'm ready for that next nugget that I am ready to implement. So it's an evolution that you can't rush. You just have to be willing to keep working at it. And I would just say, look at what you're good at, right? I heard a lot of good stuff today. Some of it I may not be very good at. Maybe it's not my natural personality or inclination. So don't try to be everything. Don't try to be somebody you're not. Pick what you're good at, whatever your skill set is. I like toe-to-toe talking to people, so I shine at open houses. I shine at door knocking. But I hate the computer. I literally, if I could count how many times my marketing guy tells me, did you reboot it? Did you try to reboot it yet? He gets so frustrated with me. But it's just not my thing. So figure out what your strengths are, and then just pick 2 things and go deep on those things.
I think it was you in our pre-talk, you had a quote that you said you look at every day. Was it you?
Yes, everything you want is on the other side of fear. And I think that's really one thing that stops all of us is fear, right? For me, in the very beginning, it was fear to hire a coach. How am I going to pay for that? And then it was fear to hire an assistant. Like that was a huge leap of faith for me to hire an assistant. And everything, even now, it's fear that I get every single time I go on a listing presentation. And I think that's a healthy fear. If you get too cocky or overconfident, you're going to lose it. But every time I go, it's a job interview. I'm afraid, and it's good. It keeps me diligent. But I think what we have to be willing to do is push through the fear, and that's when we're gonna break through those barriers and get what we want.
I think that's a powerful way to close it out. That's awesome. Can we clap it up for this great? Thank you very much, all. You guys.